So, today I am actually going to be responding to a very well-known MGTOW that has a reputation for responding to basically anybody that disagrees with MGTOWism, or even the general tenets or the core aspects of MGTOW. He's known as the turd flinging monkey. Now, I do watch his content from time to time. I'm not a dedicated person that watches his content all the time. But in this one video, it really looks like that his argumentations and the way that he presents himself, especially his arguments, have gotten so soft to the point where I'm surprised no feminist has responded to him. Now, granted, I'm an anti-feminist and all that, but I'm still surprised that no feminist or of that caliber has responded to him yet and humiliated him through this video in particular I'm about to respond to. So let's begin watching this video.
Buying shit she doesn't need.
Right, but the point is, here's the thing. Women have always been the consumers, but they need money, and men are the ones who make the money. So the reason...
And you're excluding a bunch of women that actually do work in this sort of system where they actually produce money, literally. And what you're saying here is literally implying that women do not work in jobs that help produce money for the average common citizen. So, really, at this point, you've really started at a very bad start when it comes to your arguments. And I'm getting the feeling that throughout this video, your argumentation's gotten so soft that it's literally like the Matt Dillahunty situation where he's been so angry about all constantly debunking Christianity stuff to the point where he gotten a little out of hand and his argument got a little sloppy and he had to take a break. So at this point, I'm really suggesting that you should take a break from the MGTOW subject, at least for probably about 2 months or something like that, just so that your argumentation can get back up if you can take a break from talking about the subject, because it seems like after when I first watched this video, it seems like you really do need a break away from the topic and just move on to something else before you really make a clown of yourself at this point.
Why these companies can pander to women is because women now have money. Now, the myth is women are strong and independent. They have their own careers. But I've done so many videos about how these companies are being forced to hire them at gunpoint, and they're forced to lose money on them. They don't want to hire these women because they know they're just going to get pregnant, they're going to fuck off and not do their job. The government is forcing them to hire them. All of this has to do with women voting.
And here's the problem I have with that in particular. Now, there are quotas in jobs where that literally makes it illegal for the government or any sort of entity to force a job employment to hire anybody, regardless if they have a vagina or not. It is literally illegal, I would say, for any job employer to be forced to hire someone regardless of what gender they are. Like, it's still the job owner's basic rights to decide, okay, do I have the rights to, say, hire this person over that person? They still have the right to do that. The only part where they can't do that is if it's because of, I'm not going to hire this person because of X or Y, or you get what I mean? But no one, as far as I understand, especially in my experience, has there come a situation where basically the government is forcing, say jobs to basically hire only women all the time. So far in my life, I've not seen that evidence. And any time when people tell me that's the case, they never provide any citation for that.
Wouldn't have a huge welfare state. You wouldn't have these quotas, this diversity is their strength horse shit, where companies are being forced to hire women because they have vaginas, even though they're not qualified and they're going to fuck off and get pregnant. Without these things, without the welfare state, without the gender quotas, women wouldn't have money. They wouldn't be spending all this money. Companies wouldn't feel the need to pander to them and kiss their ass, because the women would have to go to men who have the money. Men would have the power. Like, the government takes the money from the men. It takes imagine a parallel universe where the government took women's sex. Somehow they had some kind of machine, and they would basically hit a button and would extract sex, quote unquote, from women and give it to men. So men didn't need to go to women for sex. They would get the sex from the government, from women, in the form of some kind of sex transfer tax. That's what the government does in the name of feminism. It takes what women want, which is money, it takes it from men and gives it to them. And now that women don't need men because they can use the government to get what they want from men, they think they're independent, they think they're strong, and now they're so full of their own bullshit, they think that they don't need men anymore, and they can just shit all over them, and it's all because they can vote. I'm not saying that, like, there won't be simps who will kiss their ass because...
And how is it because they can vote, is my question, above all else. Like, what is it about women voting somehow leads to that sort of proposed scenario of what you just stated? Plus, not to mention, your proposed sort of parallel universe thing is again, the way that you described it really does sound like you've talked about the subject so much to the point where you really do need to take a break from the mental topic, because at this point, your arguments aren't holding up on themselves, and it's really suffering because you've over-talked about the subject over and over again to the point where it's, simply put, you desperately need to break, or else the way that you're saying it's just going to lead to more and more of and then to the point where your argument just suffers. Simply put, you've talked about the subject so much to the point where it's suffering. So my advice, really take a break. And now I understand I'm repeating myself over and over again on this, but I just want to make it clear that at this point you really need to take a break. I'm sorry, I'm just saying.
Because they're trying to get their dicks wet. But you wouldn't have this systemic problem with men getting fucked over, because if men are the taxpayers and men are the voters, the politicians are going to listen to them. Politicians follow who gets them elected and keeps them elected. That's the problem with campaign contributions. The companies basically help these politicians stay in office by giving them campaign contributions. Hence, they listen to these companies, and it creates a corrupt system. Well, women are the majority of voters, and they have a huge own group bias, so they're far more likely to look out for their interests of other women, even if it's objectively unfair. Like, there's no reason why birth control is a healthcare issue.
And that's why I have an issue with your argumentation. You literally went from, say, a politician, basically the politicians listening to the majority of voters, all the way to say, birth control. Like, seriously, you've talked about the subject over and over again to the point where you're literally jumping on from topic to topic as if you are the smartest person on earth, which I'll have to bitch slap you and say that no, you're not the smartest person on earth. Quite simply put. And also, I don't think you realize that in regards to, say, the politicians, yes, the politicians do listen to the majority of voters, regardless of what that may be. But what I have a problem with what you said is because it's an incomplete thought. It literally is an incomplete thought, to me at least. You haven't fixed or even finished that argument. It's literally like you just jumping from one argument to another while it's not even finished.
Where women think that they deserve free birth control. It's fucking bullshit. It's like $5 a month. Pay for your own shit. But women just want more free shit. It will never end. And as soon as they get free birth control, they want free...
And granted, I do agree with you there, but here's the problem. Not every woman wants free shit, as you say. Not every woman wants or demands a free substance. Now, what you're describing is basically the third wave feminists sort of side that basically wants the free substance, that wants basically free birth control and all that. However, there are some women out there that actually do disagree with the third wave feminists on that particular topic as well. And I'm serious, there are women that actually believe that you should pay for the birth control sort of stuff, and especially with any medical fees related to that sort of stuff.
They want free everything, free tampons, free fucking hair dye, everything's, as long as they can justify it as a war on women, women will support it, because all they hear is it's a war on women, they're trying to take our free birth control away, oh, what, it's terrible. And these are, people say, oh, only 30% of women are feminists. Ask the average woman if she.
And again, you literally jumped from arguments to arguments and without completing it, which bugs me no end. Not to mention, I really think you missed the point about the free birth control thing. Now, granted, I'm of the opinion that the birth control thing needs to be paid and all that, yes. However, since you jumped from argument to argument, it seems like you've missed the point of what some proper criticisms of what could be made about, say, free birth control. Like, would you want, say, you're in a restaurant, and your female worker's like, and literally screaming, and your customer's like, yo, why is there screaming in the back of that room of yours? Oh, no, she's giving birth because she couldn't afford birth control. You're just gonna have to wait for your burger while this may take a couple minutes, because she couldn't afford birth control. There are little cases where there can be made an argument for free birth control, at least in this regard, I'm just saying. And I'm sorry if I had to address this argument first, instead of jumping on to the other argument immediately, is because I have no CD problem where I have to finish things, and you jumping up from argument to argument is really pissing me off.
She thinks birth control pills are a health care that should be, if she thinks birth control pills should be paid for by health insurance. And most of them will say yes. Ask them if she thinks maternity leave should be paid for by companies, should be mandatorily paid for by companies. Women should just be able to not work and get paid for it by a company because they chose to have a baby. The average woman will say yes. So get the fuck out of here with only 30% of women identify as feminists.
Okay, that doesn't exactly disprove the article, which it's saying only Americans are X amount of percent feminist. What you literally just did right at the end is basically went on a rant about how women basically, now I don't want to be that person that takes it out of context, but what you literally are saying that women naturally will want the company to basically pay for their maternity leave. And that actually makes sense because, as I stated before in the restaurant scenario, I mean, you don't want your female workers to be giving birth to a baby right there in the spots, and literally women are, right when they actually have the baby, they are physically weak to the point where some of them can't even work right after they're pregnant. And it makes sense for the mother to be with the baby or child for a certain amount of time. And in this video, I'm actually quite disappointed at Turd Flinging Monkey because here's the reason why I'm disappointed. After all your talk about how great MGTOWism is in your other series and other videos, by far this is the one video that I feel like you really do need a break from talking about MGTOW so much, because it's severely affecting your ability to make an argument. And you jumping from argument to argument like that is, while not finishing your thoughts, and also basically, and also just basically being that kind of douchebag for making assumptions here and there is really telling. So I'm Forbidden Finger. I'm signing out. So let me know if you like the new background. I've been investing into new background shit, so let me know in the comments if you like the backgrounds. But anyways, thanks for watching, and make sure to smash the dislike button as hard as your fists will allow. And also, type in a bunch of hate or angry comments in the comments section below. Don't worry, I don't mind. I don't care. But anyways, take care and see you later.